Chicago, Chicago, that tumbling town. Chicago, Chicago, I will show you around. I love it, bet your bottom dollar you'll lose the blues in Chicago, Chicago. The town that Billy Sunday could not shut down, yeah. The town that Billy Sunday could not shut down, ladies and gentlemen. Who was Billy Sunday? Billy Sunday was a Major League Baseball player. He started playing for the Chicago White Sox way back when they were called the Chicago White Stockings. That's how far back we're going, kids. And he wasn't much of a ball player. He only lasted a few years, but he could run the bases faster than anyone else in the major leagues, and he could electrify a crowd. The people loved him. And he turned that talent into his second job, becoming the world's foremost evangelical preacher, ladies and gentlemen. He would stand on stages in front of thousands and rail against the sins of alcohol consumption. And he was a primary proponent of the Great Depression that swept this nation in 1920, known as Prohibition. No alcohol consumption, production, or distribution allowed. And that's when the gangsters ran rampant here in Chicago with their bootleg whiskeys and their gins and their speakeasies and their Tommy guns. It was a dark, dark time, but by 1933, Prohibition was repealed, Al Capone was in prison, and like Frank Sinatra sang, not the gangsters, not Prohibition, not Billy Sunday, not the Great Chicago Fire, not 4 out of our last 7 governors being indicted on federal charges, and not 108 years without a World Series victory for the Chicago Cubs. Nothing. It is. Excuse me? No problem. Moving right along, we got Marshall Fields on our left-hand side, occupying an entire city block. Give the lady what she wants, said Marshall Fields. Bought out by Macy's about a decade ago, but we still call it Marshall Fields. This is State Street, that great street, I just wanna say. Then on our right-hand side, the second of 479 Walgreens will be passing on our 2-hour journey today. Home to Carson Prairie stock for about 100 years, now home to a swank new Target. And the upper levels were done by Daniel Burnham, the founder, the pioneer, the hero of the first Chicago School of Architecture. He also designed this style of window here. The big pane of glass in the middle and the 2 on the sides that open and shut. Those are Chicago windows, no matter where you see them in the world. Our local production of Hamilton will be down the street on the right. Very popular show. Probably still get tickets tonight for under $700. But on the left, the Palmer House, second largest hotel in Chicago and one of the oldest. It was given as a wedding present from Potter Palmer to his wife, Bertha, and burned down 3 weeks later in the Great Chicago Fire. Happy honeymoon. The Palmer House was where brownies were invented. 1893 Columbian Exposition down in Jackson Park, the White City, that great World's Fair. And they still serve original recipe brownies in the Palmer House restaurant, but if you ever get a chance, don't. Brownie technology's come a long way in the last 100 years, you know. They still make it with apricots and walnuts over there. No. You can do better than that. We all know.
The Berghoff Restaurant on our left-hand side. Second oldest restaurant in Chicago. Owned by the same German family for 4 generations and proud possessors of Chicago liquor license number 1. Still proudly displayed on their walls, still serve their beer in steins. A lot of restaurants had to close down during the Great Prohibition. Hard to make ends meet without that sweet, sweet liquor tab. The Berghoff stayed open by selling something called near beer. That's where you take one regular beer, you mix in about 20 gallons of water. Nowadays known as a Coors Light. In the plaza, Federal Plaza, we've got a farmer's market every Tuesday from 9 to 3. Get some fresh produce there before the winter sets in. Federal Plaza was designed by Mies van der Rohe. He was the pioneer of the second school of Chicago architecture. Big epoxy, steel, and glass. No gargoyles, nothing fancy. We'll see more of his stuff as we pass through Chicago, including stop number 3, the Willis Town. And a masterpiece of the first Chicago School of Architecture on the left-hand side of the rookery, built in 1886. Daniel Burnham had his offices on the top floor, where he designed that 1893 Columbian Exposition, the White City. And the lobby of the rookery is done by Frank Lloyd Wright, and if you have a chance during business hours, pop your head in there and check it out. It is gorgeous. Frank Lloyd Wright was not of that first or second school of Chicago architecture. He had his own style, the prairie style. He liked to incorporate his artwork into the deep, elaborate staircases. Quite precise. This is LaSalle Canyon right here, and on the left you'll see Chicago Board of Trade, topped by Ceres, the Roman goddess of wheat. Chicago Board of Trade was the tallest building in Chicago for decades, and when the sculptor made Ceres at the top of it, he did not put a face on Ceres. No eyes, no lips, it's just smooth and flat. The sculptor thought that no building in Chicago could ever get tall enough for anyone to notice that Ceres didn't have a face. Well, ho, ho, ho. What have we here? Rising up into the left. Former title holder of world's tallest building. Held that title for 20 feet of air. And now ranks somewhere among the teens. People looking down at the dots in this bus. On our right, the fourth of 240,000 walkers. We're going to pull off to the side here for stop number 3, the Willis Tower, the Sears Tower, the Sky Deck, and the pinnacle of the second school of Chicago architecture. Stop number 3. The red awnings of Giordano's on our right-hand side. Official deep dish pizza of the Big Bus Tour, 10% off. With your Big Bus ticket at that location and the one at Navy Theater, stop number 11. Passing underneath West Nelson Albert called the Westy Iron Horse of Chicago, we go from the outside to into the loop. The loop only technically existing within the circular elevated train tracks that run through the heart of downtown Chicago. We're in the financial district now. On the left-hand side, our Federal Reserve Bank. There are 12 of these in the United States. Ours is number 7. So if you pull out your dollar bill, you see a black number 7 on there. You'll know it came from right here in Chicago. Federal Reserve Bank also home to a money museum. 3 stories tall anywhere around here. So this was quite enormous. Designed by Daniel Burnham himself as an office building, so as far as first Chicago School of Architecture goes, it's not very elaborate. But it was the first building wired for electricity in Chicago. And it is still the world's tallest load-bearing building. And no steel frame inside there holding it up. That's why the bottom is so wide. You see how it tapers out. You see how deeply recessed the ground floor windows are. It takes a big bottom to hold up that much brick, you know what I mean? Because it's a brick! Thank you! Congratulations, you've just won a seat on the top deck of the Big Bus. block designed by Mies van der Rohe, the founder of the Second School of Chicago Architecture. Big black boxy steel and glass. Mies van der Rohe was a big fan of the Monadnock, obviously, with its austerity. But he wasn't a fan of gargoyles and curlicues and things like that. They called this the modern style in the middle part of the last century. They also called it the international style, because you could pick up any one of these buildings, drop it anywhere in the world, it would still look just as good. Black goes with everything, don't you know? Up on the interior walls, 1, 2, 3. Very Prussian. And these bollards, that's what these granite columns are called, bollards. They were obviously added later, post 9/11, sometime around when Barack Obama had his transition team operating out of the Klusinski building on our left-hand side there. As a tribute to Mies van der Rohe, those were also played right at the intersection of all the sidewalk cracks. The Klusinski building also houses our 2 senators, the comedic stylies of Duckworth and Durbin, and also the home of the IRS. So, turning our attention to the right-hand side, we find the Dirksen Federal Courthouse, where it'll be the light of day until 2024, when he'll be reunited with his precious, precious hair dye. They don't allow it in prison, you know. And that's the Flamingo on the left-hand side by Alexander Calder. European colorful, done as a reaction to the big black boxy stylings of Mies van der Rohe. If Federal Plaza is a tuxedo, the Flamingo is its boutonniere. And that is a post office. Rounding off the 3 buildings of Federal Plaza. Like I said before, this farmers market takes place every Tuesday throughout the summer and into the fall, as we can see. Not sure when the last one's going to be. This might be it. A few less technical flagpole as we pass by. Across the street. Fly the W, we say here in Chicago.
Berghoff.
Another example of the first Chicago School of Architecture. Also built in the 1890s on our left-hand side. This is the Marquette, named after Father Jacques Marquette. He was the first European traveler recorded coming through these parts in the 1670s. See a mural above the doors here, depicting his journey. And another great lobby inside that building too. It has sort of atrium in the middle there, surrounded by mosaics, also depicting Father Jacques Marquette's journey. Many Americans who might have a quibble with that. Oh, mistake of calling the entire downtown the Loop. Not technically true. The Loop only exists within the circular elevated train tracks that run through the heart of it. 8 different train lines come from all corners of Chicago, servicing some of the 77 neighborhoods that we have here in town. To those neighborhoods? And that means that the tallest building inside the Loop is now up and to the left. That's the Chase Bank. That's another building that's wide on the bottom and skinny at the top. You can see how it slopes gracefully upwards on each side.
Yeah, I see one.
The reason for that, they wanted to make more room for bank tellers on the ground floor level. Now it's just 3 ATMs and you're all set. This is the Inland Steel building on our left-hand side. This one's more skinny at the bottom and wider at the top. You can see how the ground floor lobby is recessed. That's the Chicago flag. You can probably see it all over town. The white one with the 2 blue stripes and the 4 red stars in the middle. Hamilton. We have an online lottery to win Hamilton tickets every day. You can go to the website and the lucky winner gets 2 tickets for $10 apiece for that evening's show. That's right, 2 tickets. So if you win those tickets and you traveling alone, pick a brother up. We're crossing State Street, that great street. Again, passing the Palmer House on the right-hand side, home with the Brownie. You see the peacock doors through the windows here. Bertha Palmer was a big fan of peacocks. Pig Pine running overhead, over to the west side of Chicago. 6 of the 8 trains run above ground when they come through the downtown area. 2 of them run below ground, but even when they run below ground, we still call them the L's. Subways up in New York.